Tonight, I am going to cast every single spell in the Harry Potter series using my very own spell book. Now, I have no idea when I got this or where I got this from. All I know is it's been sitting in my drawer looking at me for the last 4 years. And depending on the date that this drops, that date will be the day that this finally comes out, this video is finally made. First of all, if in 2024 it's damn near 2025, if you haven't seen Harry Potter already, then that's tough. I don't know what you're doing. It's clearly because you don't want to, and in which case you're wrong. Harry Potter is sensational. Chef's kiss. The greatest ever. I know there's a lot of debate, but Harry Potter is goated. If you love Harry Potter, smash the like button on this video. With that being said, I will now introduce you to the Book of Spells. As you can see, I have my very own spell journal, and inside this journal there is not one spell written down, and that's a shame. This book belongs to Roscoe ASMR. If I had a pen, I would write that down right now. Enough of that. Let's get to the spells, shall we? That's enough of that. Spell number 1 is Accio. Pronunciation A-Key O-A-H, key like a house key, and O-O-H. Type charm. This spell is a charm spell. Purpose: summons desired objects either in or out of eyesight to the spellcaster. For example, if I said Accio, brush for ASMR. Wow. Accio Horcrux. Movie: Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Spell scene: during the first task of the Triwizard Tournament, Harry Potter casts this spell to retrieve his broomstick from the sky, allowing him to escape a fire-breathing dragon. Fantastic fact: Hermione Granger taught Harry Potter the summoning charm that ultimately saved his life. It could have saved his life, maybe, because in the movie, Mad-Eye Moody said to Harry, "You're allowed your wand." So, what if he used his wand to do something else? Maybe he didn't summon his broomstick, but he did something else and collected the golden egg and survived anyway. Obviously, Harry would have survived because he was the one that's going to kill Voldemort anyway. We move. Alate Ascendere. Pronunciation: a latte. Ascender a latte. A latte. A latte. Can I have a latte, please? Thank you very much. Medium. Ascendere. Type: charm. Purpose: rapidly throws the target high into the sky, into the air. Spell scene: Draco Malfoy casts his spell whilst facing off against Harry Potter in the Hogwarts Dueling Club. Behind the magic: when asked what spell he'd most like to cast, actor Tom Felton, who played Draco Malfoy, said, "I know this may sound ridiculous. I like the idea of dressing everyone behind the camera in very humorous fashion. A clown." What has this got to do with the... You know what? This is from the movie Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. What has that got to do with this spell? Nothing. The next spell is Alohomora. Pronunciation: Alohomora. 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 Its type is a charm. Purpose: unlocks objects. Movie: Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Philosopher's Stone for those in the UK. You know what's crazy? In the first year of Harry Potter, when they were literally first years, they were 11 years old, they were taught how to unlock every door possible. Why would you teach that to children? You know children get into mischief, they get up to mischievous activities. Why would you teach that to children? And this spell genuinely works. It genuinely opens doors. All doors, pretty much all doors, unless it's like guarded by extra magic. So why would you do that? Beats me. Behind the magic note spell scene. While exploring the third floor corridor of Hogwarts Castle, Hermione Granger uses this spell to open a locked door, revealing the three-headed dog, Fluffy, on the other side. Behind the magic, actress Emma Watson, Hermione Granger, describes spellcasting as very much about being in your mind with your body. It doesn't come from the wand, it comes from who you are. That has nothing to do with Alohomora, but that's actually pretty cool sounding, so I'll give it that. The next spell is Arania Exome. Arania Exome. Arania Exume. How's it pronounced? Arania Exume. Arania Exume. Charm. The type is a charm. It's a charm. All of them have been charmed so far. Purpose: a non-explosive spell used for blasting spiders away. Makes sense. Movie guess. Correct. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Spell scene. While in the Forbidden Forest, Harry Potter uses this spell to blast Acromantilas away from Ron Weasley. Fantastic fact: spiders are Ron's worst fear. This is true. This is one of my favorite spells in the whole series. Arresto Momentum. Even the scene, which I'm gonna read now, but even the scene is so memorable and it's so cool to me. Anyway, this is the card right here. And this is what it looks like on the other side. Standard. Pronunciation: Arresto Momentum. Arresto Momentum. It's a charm, and its purpose is to stop or slow down a target. Movie: Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Spell scene: during a Quidditch match versus Hufflepuff, Professor Albus Dumbledore uses this spell to slow Harry Potter's descent after falling off his broomstick. So basically, during the movie, Harry was flying, playing a Quidditch match, and a Dementor came up to him and tried to give him the Dementor's kiss, which ended up knocking Harry off his broomstick, and he was falling free fall to the ground. And Albus Dumbledore stands up and he says, "Arresto momentum," and Harry just excellent scene. Shout out to Dumbledore. Another one of my favorite spells, Ascendio. Standard. Ascendio, pronounced Ascendio. Ascendio. It's a charm. Purpose lifts the target high into the air. Movie Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire spell scene. During the second task of the Triwizarding Tournament, Harry Potter uses this spell to escape being attacked by the Grindylows and ascend from the depths of the Black Lake. You know how, look, so Harry was in the water, and Ron and Hermione were there, and not just Ron and Hermione, but Fleur Delacour's little sister, right? Because Fleur Delacour, like, she panicked and she left the water. And so Harry tried to save everyone, and he did technically. He cut the rope that was tying Fleur, he cut the rope that was tying Ron and Hermione, well, Ron, and then, because Hermione was saved by Crumb, and then Ascendio to the top. Nice scene. This one here, guys, is one of the unforgivable curses, probably the most unforgivable of the curses, and I'm going to show you the card itself. It's a pretty cool image of Voldemort actually casting this. I think this was the scene in Goblet of Fire, or this is either Goblet of Fire or it's Half-Blood Prince Part 2, where he's battling Harry, but this is definitely a battle scene for sure. Pronunciation: Avada Kedavra. A lot of people, whenever they pronounce this spell, they think it's abracadabra, but it's Avada Kedavra. Cadavra. And this is the first curse that we have. This type is a curse. It's not a charm, it's a curse. Purpose: causes the instantaneous, painless death of the target, also known as the Killing Curse. Movie Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. So I'm guessing this picture was taken during the final battle between Voldemort and Harry in the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Spell scene: one of the 3 unforgivable curses. Lord Voldemort cast this spell many times throughout the movies, even using it to kill Harry Potter in the Forbidden Forest. Harry Potter, the boy who lived, come to die. And that was said by Voldemort in Half-Blood Prince in the Deathly Hallows Part 2. One of the best scenes in the whole series. That scene was, I remember the first time watching that scene, I had chills, I had goosebumps, bro. Crazy scene. The scene, like, obviously the books was one thing, but then the scene when you got to see it on the big screen on TV, bro, different. Then it's just silence. Oh, Father, got up. Sensational. The next spell is Brachio Emendo. Pronunciation: Brachium Emendo. Brachium Emendo. This is our first spell type. So the first 6 were like charms. Then we had the Killing Curse, and this is a spell. Its purpose is to allow the caster to mend broken bones. Or does it? Movie Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Spell scene: after a Quidditch match versus Slytherin, Professor Gilderoy Lockhart uses this spell to heal Harry Potter's arm. The pain immediately disappears, along with Harry's bones. So he healed his bones. He stopped the pain by disappearing his bones, basically. So this spell doesn't really mend broken bones. And the quote is, "Not to worry, Harry. I will fix that arm of yours straight away." Shout out to Gilderoy Lockhart. He was an absolute menace, mate. The next spell is System Aperio. And it's also a charm. It's pronounced System Aperio. System Aperio. Purpose: blast open a trunk or box. Movie: Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Spell scene: years before Harry Potter arrives at Hogwarts, Tom Riddle uses this spell to blast open a trunk belonging to Rubeus Hagrid, releasing Hagrid's pet Acromantula Aragog. And the quote from Tom Riddle in that movie was, "Stand aside, Hagrid." And I remember that scene. It was like during a flashback, and Tom Riddle basically, obviously you can't see Hagrid's face. He's like a shadow figure, and then Tom Riddle just blasts open a box. And this is the spell he used to do that. As you can see, the picture of young Tom Riddle right here. System Aperio. The second unforgivable curse on this list. Pronunciation: Crucio. Crucio. Type: curse. Purpose: inflicts intense, excruciating pain on the target. Movie: Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Spell scene: in the Little Hangleton graveyard, Voldemort cast this unforgivable curse twice upon Harry Potter, causing the boy wizard to fall to the ground in pain. The first time we got to see this in the Goblet of Fire, though, was when Mad-Eye Moody, who, was actually Barty Crouch Jr., disguised after drinking Polyjuice Potion. But he basically taught it to the students. He taught them all three of the unforgivable curses. And yeah, this one's crazy. I think this one, in terms of intensity, in terms of the worst, this one is the second worst, next to Avada Kedavra. I will get to the last one soon. The next spell is Diminuendo. 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 I remember this spell because I can remember the scene, and I know exactly what scene this is. This is the scene where the movie is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and this is where Dumbledore's army assembled in the Room of Requirements, and they were basically like experimenting with their magic and trying to be better students and better magicians, better wizards, witches. And Diminuendo was one of the spells that were cast by, it was either Ginny, one of the Asian girls, or that little white boy, Nigel. Anyway, pronunciation: Diminuendo. It's a charm, and its purpose is to force the target to shrink. Spell scene: while practicing his spell casting. Here we go. While practicing his spell casting as part of Dumbledore's army, Nigel Walpert uses this charm to defeat a mechanical Death Eater inside the Room of Requirement. That is so hard. That's wavy, because I pretty much got it nailed on. And this is Harry Potter's quote from that exact scene. "Working hard is important, but there's something that matters even more. Believing in yourself." Facts, Harry. Big facts. The next spell is Engorgio. Engorgio. Pronunciation: Engorgio. Engorgio. It's a charm spell, and its purpose is to cause the target to swell immensely. Movie Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Spell Scene. While camping in the forest of Dean, Harry Potter cast this spell to transform a flickering candle into a giant flame. Was this when they were trying to destroy the Horcrux? The locket? No, that might have been a different, because I remember the scene, but that might have been, I think it was around that time, but I don't think they were trying to destroy the Horcrux, no. Fantastic fact. In Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Hermione Granger suspects that Rubeus Hagrid used the Incordio spell on his oversized pumpkin patch. Neat fact, that is actually in relation to the picture on the card itself. That's good. The next spell is Episci. One of my favorites, Luna Lovegood right here. Episci. This is a spell, not a charm. Its type is a spell. Its purpose is to heal relatively minor injuries. Movie Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, my favorite Harry Potter movie by far. I think it's Half-Blood Prince, Goblet of Fire, Deathly Hallows Part 2, and then probably Order of the Phoenix, and then everything else basically. But Half-Blood Prince is the movie. Everything, and I mean everything, happens in this movie. The Half-Blood Prince, everything happens in this movie. And so much happens in the Goblet of Fire. And obviously the final movie is the final movie. Spell Scene. Luna Lovegood casts this healing spell to fix Harry Potter's nose, which was broken by Draco Malfoy aboard the Hogwarts Express. Harry Potter, during that scene, have you ever fixed a nose before? Need to get that lighting good. There we go. The next spell is Everte Statum. Everte Statum, pronunciation Everte Statum. Very, very simple. This is our first jinx in the video. This type of spell is a jinx. Its purpose is to cause the opponent to fly back several feet. Movie Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Spell Scene. In Hogwarts Dueling Club, Draco Malfoy uses this jinx against Harry Potter, knocking the boy wizard off his feet. Why do they keep saying boy wizard? He's just a wizard, bro. And this is Severus Snape, Professor Severus Snape from that scene. Perhaps it would be prudent to first teach the students how to block unfriendly spells. Clearly he was talking to Gilderoy Lockhart because he was so incompetent. The spell of Harry Potter, pretty much. Expecto Patronum. Expecto Patronum, Harry Potter's signature spell, conjures through a very powerful memory a powerful force, positive force, that acts as a protective, magical guardian. Movie Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So this spell is basically to fend off Dementors. First used on the train by, what's his name? Lupin, Professor Lupin. Spell Scene. Harry Potter casts this powerful defense charm at the Black Lake, fending off hundreds of Dementors and revealing the form of his Patronus, a stag. Now, if you've ever been on Pottermore, I think now it's called Wizarding World, but back in the day it was called Pottermore, you can actually figure out what house you'd be sorted into, what your Patronus would be, and what your wand would be. I can't remember what my Patronus was, to be fair, but I am in Slytherin. I always knew it too. I am a Slytherin at heart. Shout out to the Slytherins out there, all you Slytherins out there, salute to you guys. A full-bodied Patronus is the most difficult to produce, but shield forms can also be equally useful against a variety of opponents. This was Harry Potter in the Order of the Phoenix when he was teaching Dumbledore's army in the Roman requirement that we just spoke about. Signature spell, well, one of two signature spells from Harry. Now this is Harry Potter's signature spell, his signature charm, and the charm he used to defeat Voldemort, which is pretty anticlimactic, because as you'll see when I read this purpose, which is fine, you know, but it's pretty anticlimactic because purpose removes an object from the target's grasp. They say an object here, but really and truly it's not an object, it's your opponent's wand. So when your opponent is, you know, messing about, you can just Expelliarmus them and then their wand flies into your hand. Or it just gets thrown out of their hand basically. Movie The Deathly Hallows Part 2. Spell scene, Harry Potter cast this disarming charm. That's exactly what it is. It's a disarming charm against Lord Voldemort during their final battle, eventually removing the Elder Wand from the Dark Lord's hand. Come on, Tom, let's finish the way we started. Together. That's from the scene right before the final battle. Yeah, I like this spell. I think it's a useful spell, it's a handy spell, but for this spell to be Harry Potter's signature spell, it's his defensive spell, it's his offensive spell, I guess it encapsulates Harry, because he's not an aggressive wizard, he's not a wizard that's trying to hurt people, but you know, in the final battle you would have wanted him to use something more damage Voldemort, my guy. Bruck him up. Maybe a that's probably here, you know. Maybe a Secrum Sempra. Maybe not an Avada Kedavra, because that's crazy. But you know what I mean. The next spell is Finite Incantatem. And the type is a spell. Pronunciation Finite Incantatem. Purpose terminates most spell effects. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is the movie. Spell scene, after a Quidditch match between rivals Gryffindor and Slytherin, Hermione Granger casts this spell to stop a rogue bludger and saves Harry Potter. The bludger was it was rogue, but it was probably controlled by someone, I can't remember who it was. Anyway, yeah. Finite Incantatem. Immobilis is the next spell. Immobilis. This is a charm, and its purpose is quite straightforward. To immobilize the target. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is the movie. And the scene is when Professor Gilderoy Lockhart releases Cornish pixies in his Defense Against the Dark Arts class. Hermione Granger casts this spell. It's a freezing charm to stun them. So the pixies were causing havoc. Here comes Hermione Granger, Immobilis, and then they all immobilize. Good spell this. This is a picture of one of the pixies. And ladies and gentlemen, we have finally reached the third and final unforgivable curse. Unforgivable curse in Harry Potter, and it is Imperio. In my opinion, Imperio is the least. I mean, a lot of bad things can happen as a result of Imperio, but it's not as bad as the first two. So it's pronounced Imperio. The type is, of course, curse, and its purpose is to place the target completely under the caster's control. Now this has a lot of messed up nuances to it. There's the removal of consent. There's a bunch of stuff. So Imperio is kind of messed up. But like I said, I don't think it's as bad as the first two, which is Avada Kedavra and Crucium. Movie Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Spell scene. During his defense against the dark arts classes, Professor Alistair Moody teaches his students the Imperious Curse, which he demonstrates by controlling a pet spider. It's funny they call it a pet spider, considering at the end of that exact scene he kills the spider with the killing curse. The ministry says you're too young to see what these curses do. I say different. You need to know what you're up against. Great scene, really good scene. And that was Alistair Moody in the Goblet of Fire during the scene. This scene right here. Really good scene. The next spell is Incarcerus. Pronunciation, Incarcerus. This is our second Jinx spell, I believe. Purpose, wraps the target tightly in ropes. Oh, I know what this is. Yeah. Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix. Order of the Phoenix is the movie and the spell scene while traveling through the Forbidden Forest. Professor Dolores Umbridge unleashes this spell upon a group of centaurs, binding one of the creatures in a tangle of ropes. How dare you, filthy half-breed, Incarcerus. And that was Dolores Umbridge in Order of the Phoenix, casting that spell on the centaur. Good scene, good spell. This is the spell that shopkeepers would use to tie up would-be criminals in the real world. The next spell is Inflammare. Inflammare. And it is indeed a spell, and its purpose used to ignite the target by a small fireball. Movie Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Spell scene. During Harry Potter's first ever Quidditch match, he loses control of his broomstick. Suspecting Professor Snape is to blame, Hermione Granger casts this spell, setting the hem of his cloak, on fire. Inflammare. It's Snape. He's jinxing the broom. Hermione Granger. Inflammare. One of my favorite spells in the series. Legilimens. For my mind reading ASMR video, this spell was actually this scene was actually used in the opening of that video, and not many people clocked it was from Harry Potter. So I'm wondering how many of you guys actually watch Harry Potter. It's interesting. Legilimens is the spell, and its purpose is to allow the caster to penetrate the mind of the target and access their thoughts. Order of the Phoenix is the movie spell scene. Professor Snape cast this spell upon Harry Potter while cheating him occlumency, the art of protecting one's mind against invasion by another. And funnily enough, this is exactly what I said at the beginning of the mind reading video. In these lessons, I will attempt to penetrate your mind. You will attempt to resist. Really good scene, yeah. Order of the Phoenix is one of the top movies too. So after my top 3, I think, like I said, Order of the Phoenix I think is 4th. It's really, really good. Really good movie. Levicorpus is the next spell, and this is our 3rd Jinx. Purpose: hoist the target into the air by their ankles and leaves them dangling upside down. Levicorpus. The movie Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Spell scene. While inside the Halls of Prophecy with Dumbledore's army, Luna Lovegood casts this spell and sends a Death Eater flying backwards. Levicorpus. There's Luna right here, practicing Patronus in Dumbledore's army. Levicorpus. Lumos is the next spell. Lumos. 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 Lumos is a charm. Its purpose is to illuminate the tip of the caster's wand. That sounds like a big pause, bro, damn. Movie Harry Potter and Half-Blood Prince spell scene. Professor Dumbledore and Harry Potter utilized this spell while searching in a darkened cave for Salazar Slytherin's locket, which of course you know was a Horcrux. Obviously this is not the first time Harry Potter cast this spell. I think that was in Prisoner of Azkaban, right? Lumos. Yeah, and then his auntie came, blew her up, and then he went on the night bus, yes. Fantastic fact. The word Maxima enhances the power of certain spells, including the Lumos charm. Lumos Maxima. Mors Mordre is the next spell. It's a spell. I would have thought it would be a curse, or not a jinx, but maybe a curse, but it's a spell. And its purpose is to conjure dark magic, or the dark mark, sorry. The movie Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, I can't speak today. Spell scene after the Death Eaters attack at the Quidditch World Cup. Barty Crouch Jr. cast this spell into the sky, revealing the dark mark, a skull with a snake protruding from its mouth. It's the dark mark, Harry. It's his mark. And that was Hermione Granger during this scene. Mors Mordre. This is a really good spell, actually. Not the spell itself, but like the spell. Like not what it does, but the spell. Like the word Mors Mordre is really cool. Pronunciation and everything. And this is Barty Crouch casting it. Obliviate is our next spell. Obliviate is the pronunciation. It's a charm, and its purpose is to modify the target's memory. I don't know about modify, because you can't change the memory. It literally disappears your memory. It's kind of like that gun in Men in Black. It disappears your memory. Movie Deathly Hallows Part 1. Spell scene. Hermione Granger cast this spell against her own parents, erasing their memories to protect them from Death Eaters. I guess it would give them plausible deniability about them knowing who Hermione was. Fantastic fact. In Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Professor Lockhart tries to use the Obliviate spell to permanently wipe Harry and Ron's memories, but his wand backfires, leaving him with total memory loss. They say that Hermione Granger, this was one of the bravest acts of courage and bravery that a wizard or witch ever did. Hermione obliviating her own parents to protect them. But then it's interesting because I think at the end, when everything was cool, she found her parents in Australia and I think undid the charm, which I don't even think you can do, but apparently she did, and it was back to normal. So I guess in the moment it was pretty brave, but then the fact that you can reverse it, it's like it wasn't really a sacrifice, was it? Shout out to Hermione though, one of my favourite characters, if not my favourite character. Almost done now, damn. Reparo is a charm and it repairs broken objects. For targeted effect, it can add a special prefix. You can add a special prefix like Oculus for glasses. For example, Oculus Reparo. But if I had like a broken watch, I could just say Reparo and then the watch would fix. So if I had a broken heart, I could just say Reparo and my heart would fix. Sorcerer's Stone is the movie. And the spell scene. Hermione Granger uses this spell to repair Harry Potter's glasses during his first ride on the Hogwarts Express. Oh, you're doing magic. This was one of the first things Hermione ever said to Ron and Harry in the carriage where she met them for the first time ever. Reparo. Oculus Reparo. But just Reparo. Apungno is a charm that directs an object or conjured creatures under the control to the caster to attack the object. In the Half-Blood Prince, this spell was used, and the spell scene was, using this spell, Hermione Granger sends a flock of canaries at Ron Weasley and Lavender Brown, stopping their unwelcomed displays of affection. That's true. At that point, they were pretty unwelcomed. A pungno. Fantastic fact, wandless magic is often reserved for only the most exceptional wizards, such as Professor Dumbledore. That's true, but it was also reserved for exceptional wizards like Tom Riddle, Voldemort. Voldemort was probably the greatest wizard of all time. He was just bad, like he used his talent for evil. But boy, okay, Dumbledore was the greatest, but Voldemort was extremely talented. You know, Voldemort, he created fiend fire. He conjured fiend fire without words. Do you know how crazy that is? And on top of that, the level of control, the mastery of the spell. Without words, the mastery. So, in the Room of Requirement, I think it was Crabbe, one of Crabbe or Goyle. They burnt down the whole place because he cast fiend fire with his wand, but he couldn't stop it. He couldn't control it, and it ended up burning down the whole room. Voldemort has an elite level of control, and he doesn't even speak non-verbal magic. It's crazy. Wandless. He doesn't need a wand. He casts it and he can control. He's so powerful, Voldemort. It's such a shame he was a dark wizard, but obviously it also made it more interesting. Between Hermione Granger and Voldemort, those are two of my favorite characters, I can't lie. You might think it's weird that I like Voldemort, but boy, like, if you know Voldemort's entire story, he is by far the most interesting character in Harry Potter, and it's not even close. I don't think anyone comes closer to Voldemort. Petrificus Totalis is the next spell, and this is also a curse, okay? So, this is the fourth curse. It's not an unforgivable one, because that's a trio. There's only 3 of those, but this is also a curse. Its purpose is to stiffen the target's limbs so they cannot move. This, in the real world, would also be what people would use to stop would-be criminals, just like that spell. What spell was it? The one Dolores Umbridge used on the Incarcerus, yes, on the centaur. It's a curse, and it was used in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, so the first movie. And the spell scene was Hermione Granger apologetically cast this full-body bind curse on Neville Longbottom as he confronts her, Harry and Ron as they sneak out of the Gryffindor common room at night. Good spell. And this is Neville getting stiffened up, frozen up. You should have stayed your ass in bed, little nigga. Did I mention? Oh, I did mention what my favorite spell is, but this is top 3 spells of all time. And rest in peace to Professor McGonagall. What the hell is her real name, man? Margot Smith. She passed away the other day, and like it was so sad because she was battling cancer during the filming of Harry Potter, and it was just so sad because she's such a legend, she's such an icon. And this was the spell. This is her spell, and this is one of the best spells in Harry Potter in the whole series. Pia Totem Locomotor. Pia Totem Locomotor. Pia Totem Locomotor. And it's a charm, and its purpose is to bring statues and basically inanimate objects to life. Spell scene: as the Battle of Hogwarts begins, Professor McGonagall uses this spell to bring stone statues and suits of armor to life, helping defend Hogwarts against Lord Voldemort's onslaught. I've always wanted to use that spell. Minerva McGonagall. Legend. Such a good spell. Such a good scene. Do your duty to our school, man the boundaries, protect us. The trailers for this movie had that scene in it. Bro, crazy. And then in the movie it hits different because everything's riding on this. Protego. Protego is the next spell. It's a charm, and it conjures a protective shield around the caster. Protego, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. During the Battle of Hogwarts, Professor Flitwick, Professor Slughorn, Molly Weasley, and others cast this spell skywards, creating a protective dome-like force field above Hogwarts. Fantastic fact, adding the word Maxima to certain incantations, including Protego, enhances the power of the spell. So just like Lumos Maxima, Protego Maxima would enhance the effects of this spell. And this is when they created that dome of protection around Hogwarts to protect from Voldemort. Man, this whole movie was just so good, man, because you realize that this was the end, and everything that they were doing was like the final card up their sleeve. It was like the final, you have to throw everything you have at the situation. Crazy, man. It was too good. Protego Maxima. Oh yeah, and Hermione did use this as also to protect her and Harry Potter when they were out just chilling and Ron left them and stuff. Reducto is the next spell, and it's a curse. So our fifth curse. Blast solid objects into pieces. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Spell scene. During the Battle of the Ministry of Magic, members of the newly formed Dumbledore's army face off against the Death Eaters. Ginny Weasley cast this spell, striking the Death Eater and sending the shelves of the Halls of Prophecy tumbling. Reducto. One of the best offensive spells, I think. Reducto, very simple but yet very effective. Destructive spell, it's a curse. Destructive. Reducto. Relatio is the next spell. Relatio. This is a jinx, another jinx, and it forces the target to release its grip. Forces the target to release its grip. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Spell scene. While escaping Gringotts' Wizarding Bank, Hermione Granger cast this spell to free a fire-breathing dragon from his chains. Hermione Granger casts a bunch of these spells, bro. Hermione Granger's a goat, but you knew that. Fantastic fact. In Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Harry uses the Revolution Jinx. I guess this is a Revolution Jinx to free himself from the Grindylows' grasp during the second task of the Triwizarding Tournament. So he uses Relatio when he's in the water, and the Grindylows basically have him. Relatio, good sounding spell, I like it. Well, Jinx. Ricta Sempra is the next spell, and it's a charm. Its purpose is to overcome the target with a severe tickling sensation. Ricta Sempra. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Spell scene. Harry Potter cast this spell while facing off against Draco Malfoy in the Hogwarts Dueling Club. On the count of 3, cast your charms to disarm your opponent, only to disarm. And that was Professor Gilderoy Lockhart during this scene. Ricta Sempra. Ricta Sempra. Ridiculous is the next spell. Ridiculous is a charm, and its purpose is to force a boggart to assume a less threatening comical form. At the sound of laughter, the boggart will burst into 1,000 tiny wisps of smoke and disappear. Prisoner of Azkaban was the movie, and the spell scene was in the defense of dark arts against dark arts class. Neville Longbottom cast this spell to transform his boggart into something amusing. For Neville, it means the unfitting. That means outfitting his worst fear, Professor Snape, in Neville's grandma's clothes. The incantation alone is not enough. What really finishes a boggart is laughter, and that was Professor Remus Lupin during this scene. Ridiculous. Very specific spell. Because if there's no bogarts at all, this spell is useless. Serpensortia. Serpensortia. Serpensortia is a spell that conjures a large snake. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was the movie. During spell scene, during Dueling Club, Draco Malfoy uses the Serpent spell. This is the Serpent spell to make a snake appear in the middle of the dueling runway. Scared Potter. And that's Draco Malfoy during this scene. Serpensortia. What? I don't have the card for Septrum Sempra. That's crazy. Sluggerless Erecto is the next one. I have 3 left after this, and it causes the target to regurgitate slugs. Eat slugs. You'll pay for that, Malfoy. Eat slugs. Spell scene. Ron Weasley attempts to use this spell against Draco Malfoy, but he shoots out the wrong end of his broken wand and hits himself in the stomach, leaving him belching slugs. Horrible spell, bro. Stupefy. Great spell. Stupefy is a spell, and it renders the target unconscious. I love this spell. Stupefy. The movie Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 spell scene. With a flick of his wand, Harry Potter casts this spell against Dolores Umbridge, knocking her unconscious and allowing Harry, Ron and Hermione to escape from Gringotts Wizarding Bank. Stunning is one of the most useful spells in your arsenal. It's sort of a wizard's bread and butter, really. And this was Harry Potter again teaching the students of Dumbledore's army in Order of the Phoenix. Stupefy. Really good spell. Stupefy. Penultimate spell right here. Vipera Evanesca. Vipera Evanesca. It's a spell, and it causes a snake to disappear in a puff of black smoke. Does it cause any snake to do that? That's crazy. Chamber of Secrets is the movie, and during Dueling Club, Professor Snape uses this spell to get rid of Malfoy's conjured snake. And finally, Wingardium Leviosa is the last spell, and it levitates objects into the air, a few feet into the air. Spell scene. Professor Flitwick teaches Harry Potter, Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger and other students how to levitate a feather in their first ever charms class. Fantastic fact, the last fantastic fact we have. In the films, Wingardium Leviosa is the first spell Harry Potter learns at Hogwarts. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the Harry Potter spells. I hope you enjoyed it, and again, if you haven't seen Harry Potter, please go watch it, bruh. Read the books and watch the movies. Legendary. They're about to make a HBO Max remake, because of course they're gonna make a remake of an IP, but they're about to make it, and like, it could go one of 2 ways, bro, and I hope it goes the best way possible, but I don't know, man. Anyway, get the hell out of it, go to bed.